Think back for a second. What did food feel like in the 1970s? Maybe it was grabbing a warm Egg McMuffin on the way to work, sharing a Twix bar with a friend after school, or the simple comfort of Hamburger Helper on a busy weeknight. Food back then wasn't just about eating. It was about moments, little snapshots of life that somehow stayed with us. In this video, we're taking a trip back to the 70s to revisit 10 foods America couldn't get enough of. And who knows, you might just taste the memories too. Picture a chilly evening in 1971. The kitchen light glowing yellow, the sound of a pot bubbling softly on the stove. On the counter sat a brand new box from Betty Crocker, Hamburger Helper. Inside were pasta shapes and a packet of seasoning, waiting to be stirred together with ground beef. For busy parents, it was a lifesaver. For kids, it meant a hearty meal that smelled rich and savory as the steam filled the room. Families could gather around the table without spending hours in the kitchen. The idea was so popular, it quickly grew beyond just hamburger, with tuna helper and chicken helper joining the shelves. And even today, that little glove-shaped mascot still reminds many Americans of simpler dinners when convenience and comfort came together in one pan. In 1974, TGI Fridays introduced a dish that quickly became a game day favorite: loaded potato skins. Crispy shells, golden from the fryer, piled high with melted cheese, smoky bacon, and a dollop of cool sour cream. Simple, hearty, and perfect for sharing. By the end of the decade, sports bars across America had picked up the trend, turning these little bites into a national obsession. And even today, decades later, you'll still find them on menus. Proof that sometimes, the best comfort food never really goes out of style. Imagine it's a quiet morning in 1975. The streets are just waking up, sunlight spilling across the sidewalks. You walk into a McDonald's, expecting the usual burgers and fries, but instead, there's something new waiting for you. The Egg McMuffin, a toasted English muffin, soft and warm to the touch. Inside, a perfectly round egg, a slice of cheese melting slowly, and a piece of Canadian bacon with just the right savor. It was the creation of Herb Peterson, a franchise owner in California who dreamed of giving people a breakfast they could grab on the go. It seemed so simple, yet it changed mornings forever. For busy workers, for students, for anyone rushing out the door, the Egg McMuffin became more than food. It was a symbol of a new rhythm of life, fast, modern, and still comforting in its own way. Picture New York City in the mid-1970s. The rumble of subway trains below, the blur of crowds hurrying through the streets above. In the middle of all that noise and motion, a new kind of sandwich was winning hearts: the Subway B.M.T. Originally named after the Brooklyn-Manhattan transit system, this wasn't just any sub. It was bold, stacked high with pepperoni, salami, ham, and a fresh crunch of lettuce and tomato. It was big, meaty, and full of flavor. Exactly what busy city life demanded. The B.M.T. captured the spirit of the decade: fast, filling, and endlessly customizable. And as Subway grew from neighborhood delis into an international chain, that sandwich remained a classic, a reminder of the days when grabbing a sub meant grabbing a piece of New York itself. Step into a Chinatown restaurant in New York City in the mid-1970s. The clatter of woks, the hiss of oil, the air filled with garlic, ginger, and chili. Out comes a dish that feels both familiar and completely new: General Tso's chicken. Golden pieces of crispy chicken, tossed in a glossy sauce that's equal parts sweet, tangy, and just a little fiery. Created by Chef Peng Chang-Kuei and named after a 19th century general, it quickly captured the American palate. For many, it was their first taste of Chinese food that went beyond chop suey or fried rice. By the end of the decade, General Tso's wasn't just a dish, it was a bridge between cultures, a comfort food that felt exotic yet comforting. Even today, It remains a staple on Chinese restaurant menus, reminding us of the moment when America first fell in love with sweet and spicy flavors. Born in Massachusetts from a small dairy company called H.P. Hood, it promised something different. The creamy sweetness of ice cream, but lighter, cooler, and somehow guilt-free. At first, not everyone knew what to make of it. Tangy, unusual, a little unexpected. But soon, word spread. By the end of the decade, shops were buzzing with people eager to try this refreshing twist on dessert. Frozen yogurt wasn't just a fad, it was the start of a new way of indulging, one that still lingers in every swirl you find today, decades later. Do you remember those potluck tables of the 1970s? The ones draped in patterned tablecloths, filled with Tupperware bowls and the hum of neighbors catching up? Somewhere in the middle, there was always a curious little dish, pale green, fluffy, and sweet, the Watergate Salad. Made with pistachio pudding, canned pineapple, marshmallows, and a cloud of whipped cream, it was less a salad and more a playful experiment in comfort. Some said it was born out of the Watergate scandal. Others claimed it was just a clever twist on dessert. But in kitchens across America, the story mattered less than the taste. For many, a spoonful of that cool, pastel green mix brings back the laughter of family gatherings, the clink of punch glasses, and the feeling that even in uncertain times, a simple dish could bring people together. Close your eyes and think back to the very first time you held a Happy Meal box in your hands. It was 1979, and suddenly fast food wasn't just about the food anymore. It was about wonder. Inside that small, colorful box was a cheeseburger or hamburger, golden fries, and a sweet drink. But what really lit up a child's face was the surprise tucked alongside. A spinning top, a stencil, maybe even a little puzzle. Simple treasures, yet magical in the eyes of a kid. In living rooms and back seats across America, the Happy Meal turned an ordinary trip to McDonald's into a celebration. And even today, decades later, that little red box still carries the same promise. A taste of joy, wrapped in nostalgia, and the timeless thrill of finding a toy inside. Do you remember the first time you poured a bowl of Honey Nut Cheerios? It was 1979, and those familiar little O's suddenly had a new sweetness, kissed with golden honey and a whisper of crushed nuts. Mornings felt a little brighter then. The sound of cereal tumbling into the bowl, the clink of a spoon, and the gentle swirl of milk brought comfort to breakfast tables across America. Kids loved the sweetness. Parents loved the wholesome crunch. And soon it became the best-selling variety of them all. More than just a cereal, it was the taste of busy school mornings, of family gathered around the table before the day began. Decades later, Honey Nut Cheerios still greets us with that same warm, nutty sweetness, a reminder that sometimes the simplest joys stay with us the longest. Sweet tooths across America were in for a treat in 1979, when a little import from the UK finally arrived on our shelves. Twix. Two slender biscuit bars, cloaked in creamy caramel and wrapped in smooth milk chocolate. It wasn't just candy. It was a whole new experience. The first bite was always a mix of textures, the snap of the cookie, the stretch of caramel, the melt of chocolate. It felt indulgent, yet fun, especially because there were 2 bars in every pack. One to savor, one to share, or maybe not. In the late 70s, Twix became a sweet escape, a perfect little moment of joy. Decades later, it's still one of the world's favorite candy bars, reminding us that sometimes the best things really do come in pairs. Some of these dishes are still with us, others belong to the past, but all of them carry the same thing: memory, a taste, a sound, a small detail that has the power to take us back to days when time felt slower and life a little simpler. So tell me, which one of these was your favorite? Or is there another dish from your own memories you'd love to share? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this trip back in time, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell for more journeys into the past. Thanks for being here with me.